I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. So if you want to join me, please do. So we're going to do about a 20-minute sequence on how to take flight in crow pose and how to take that fear out of the posture. But obviously, please stay safe and don't go beyond your own limitations. So taking flight in crow pose. So we're going to learn how to get into crow from all the steps up that we need to get into crow. So crow is a hand balance. So it's the first one of the handstands really, because we are balanced on our hands. But you can't just go into it. We need to warm up the wrists and we need to warm up the core. So let's just take a few moments to come together and start to warm up the wrists. So it's a bit of a fun thing to do. So we're just going to start to warm up the wrists. So literally taking some movements through the wrists. Oh, and also whilst we're doing this, have some blocks or a stack of books to hand. So about the size of 3 yoga bricks really. So a stack of books is going to be perfect. So get them whilst we're still warming up the wrists. This is fun, isolation fun. You can tell I've got nothing to do because I keep doing these tutorials, but I thought this is a bit of fun. So keep going, keep shaking those wrists. It's a handstand, so we're getting the wrists fully, the hands flat fully to the floor. So we need a big extension through the inside of the wrists. So keep going. I won't tell you what my daughter thought I looked like. She wondered what I was doing. So keep going. Lovely, 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 lovely. Just relax the hand. You'll start to feel that zingy sensation. And then we're going to bring the arms out flat in front of us. Push the heel of a hand away. And then bring your fingers together to touch the thumbs, like a little puppet. Do, do, do. And push back. Make that puppet hand and push back. We're going to keep doing that, and you're going to start to feel this muscle up here work, which is where we're going to need that strength. So keep going. Quite a few of these. You'll really start to feel this forearm working now. And if you look down, you can really feel and see this muscle here working. So let's go, a few of them. It's hard work this. Keep going, keep lengthening, keep going. Just going to move on my, there you go, sorry, I'm just recording it on a different device. So keep going. Taking a few of them. A few more, really feel those arms working. And relax, shake it out. And then we're going to bring the hands into our crow arms. So we're going to draw the hands towards us and then start to bring the elbows back. Palms facing up. And then we're going to reach the arms back, push the elbows back, trying to keep the elbows parallel with the shoulders. And back down. Reach up. And back down. So keep going, a few of these. Don't let those elbows flare out, keep drawing them in. And back down. Up. And down. Draw those elbows back a bit more. And back. Lovely. Coming up. And back down. Lovely. Now let's come to our mat. Let's take a nice forward fold. So let's place the hands flat to the mat, lengthening through the legs if you can. And just start to play with the weight through your hands. So just leaning forward into the fingertips, leaning back into the heels. Bend your knees as much as you need to, just playing with the weight. And then we're going to draw the feet together. drop the hips and come up into our chair pose as we start to ignite the core. So really tuck that tailbone in, so lift your belly button into the spine. Few breaths here, using your core. And come up. And again, drop the hips. Engage the core into the midline of the spine. Really squeezing everything together here. Use your abdominal muscles. And exhale down. Lovely. And the same again, just fiddle with the weight onto the fingertips. Heels may lift into the heel of the hand. Keep your arms pushing yourself out of the mat so you don't feel you're dumping all the weight. And then drop your bottom to the mat. Then we're coming into a low goat pose, low Bakasana. So we want to ensure the lower back is on the mat. So we're going to lift up the knees and reach those arms forward. Send them long and in. So we're just going to do a few of these. Engaging the core, but keep that lower back onto the mat. Keep your chin to the chest, around through the upper back. This is the position we'll be in for crow pose. Few of these. Lower the legs a little more. Don't let that lower back lift. Drop your knees to the mat and just drop your knees to the right, but keep both shoulders grounded. Just take a little twist through the spine. Come back to the centre and drop them to the other side. And again, just feel that nice twist through the spine. And then let's come back to our boat pose. Keep that lower back grounded into the mat. We're only lifting and rounding through the upper back. And then we're going to start to just pedal the legs. Engaging that core. So just finding that engagement through the core. It's the core that's going to lift us in crow pose so we don't dump all our weight. Crow pose should feel light and lifted, not heavy. Come back to the centre and roll yourself up. Now let's go into plank. So we're coming into a low forearm plank, but it's important to not have those elbows out. We're here. So bring your forearms to the mat, shoulders above the elbows, and then just come in to your plank. And we're just going to hold our plank, keep pushing into the elbows, make sure they're nice and parallel, pushing into the hands. We're just going to hold here for a few seconds, and the gaze is going to the top of your mat. Okay, I'm just going to lower my hips a little bit more. And maybe you can lift your right leg. And maybe you can lift your left hand to the corner of the left side of the mat. This is hard. Bring it back, release legs down. Take a breath. Push back into plank. We're going to hold, pushing through the elbows. Lift your right leg, or the other leg, sorry, I did the other leg. Your right hand, so opposite hand to opposite leg. I think I instructed you the wrong time. Wrong legs. Oh, you can probably hear it in my breath. And release. And sit back into child's pose and just reach those arms forward. It's just a little bit of fun. Push yourself up to all fours and come to downward facing dog. And then let's just start to walk our feet to meet our hands. And this is where I want you to grab your pile of books. So in order for you not to feel like you're going to splat straight onto your face, often if we have a pillow, it's okay, it gives us protection, but you still have that fear of falling. So with a pile of books, or equivalent to 3 yoga bricks, we're going to place in front of us. We're going to drop the hips down, plant the hands on the mat. We're going to try and get our knees as close to the inside of the elbows, inside of the underarms as we can. We're going to bring the weight forward, wiggle forward and place your forehead onto your bricks or books. So find that comfortable place, find you nice and secure. Knees are nicely tucked into the elbows, above the elbows into the underarms. And we're just going to stay here. So that fear of falling is not there, you've got the protection. And then you're just going to lift one leg, release it. The other leg, release it. And then come back down. Now we want to make sure the weight is not too much. So if the weight is too far into our fingers, you'll fall forward. If the weight is too far into the back of the heel of the hand, you'll fall back. You want to feel the weight is even through all these knuckles. That's where you're balanced and stable. And then you're going to lift up through the bandhas that we talk about. So lift up through the Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha to get that lift. But we're just going to start at the moment with our head just relaxed onto our pile of bricks. So hands are flat on the mat, knees are as close to the armpits as we can get them, and just bring your weight forward and relax your forehead onto the blocks. Make sure you're grounding through all knuckles, and then just lift one leg, place it down, lift the other, place it down. Come back to forward fold. Wiggle the feet together. Drop the hips, come back into chair pose. Bring all your weight into the heels of your feet, and maybe you can lift one leg. Use your core to balance, bring it back. Send out the other leg. One-legged crow, bring it back. Inhale, come to standing. Exhale, fold. Let's come back to our backs. We're going to come into crow pose, but on our back, so we've got the support of the ground beneath us. Gravity is not against us here. So bring your legs up and really bring yourself into a tight ball. Reach your arms up, palms facing up, and really push yourself up into this tight ball. You want to bring your knees towards you, and you want to push your hands away from you so you've got space between your shoulder blades, and your gaze is looking up to your hands. Lovely, and release back down. And just drop the knees to the right. Drop the knees to the left. And find that lovely twist. And then we're going to roll all the way back up. And find our boat pose again. So lower back is into the mat. Take a breath in. Exhale the legs, exhale the arms. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale the knees in a little higher, a little closer. Exhale. Cross over at the ankles and roll yourself up. Let's try again. So we've got the blocks again. Come to the feet nice and flat, plant your hands down. Bring your knees as close as you can to the underarms. And just come up onto the toes, relax your forehead onto the blocks. So you've got the complete support here. Gripping through your fingers, feel the weight even through the knuckles. Now we don't dump the weight. You've got to lift these bandhas, lift the core to lift you up. You don't want it to look heavy. It has to be light. So here we go again. Relax your forehead. Lift one foot. Maybe this time you can lift the other foot. But there's no fear of falling here because you've got your head on the blocks. And release. Come to your forward fold. Inhale up to standing. Exhale the hands down. Okay. Now what we can do is another way is bringing your feet higher. because sometimes it's a bit hard if you've not got the flexibility to get your knees into your armpits. So we stand on our blocks, stand on our bricks, so that we're a little higher already. Plant your hands down, and then your knees can get a little further up towards your armpits. Bring the weight forward, and then maybe lift one and then the other. And if that doesn't work, just bring one at a time. Keep that core engaged, keep the core lifted. And once you feel secure practicing that, you then may want to go and try it without the blocks. You can still use the blocks for your feet to lift your hips a little higher, that's fine. Or maybe you want to try and take full flight. So I'm going to try and show you how not to do it. So we don't want it to look heavy, like I said. We want it to look light and lifted. So if I just dump all my weight, you'll know if you've done this because you'll end up with bruises here. I'm going to try and do it this way, but it's quite hard. So if I dump all my weight, oh, I can't do it. Basically, you can see what's happened. I just fall. If you dump all your weight, you're so heavy you can't support and lift yourself. You have to lift up, engage that core. So that's how you not to do it. And that's clearly what happens. When I don't do it correctly, I just fall. I've got no stability and there's no lift. So if you want to give it a go without any of the props, maybe put a pillow there just in case you fall forward. But the worst you'll do is just land on your forehead. So let's come down, hands are planted. Now you must always look here to the top of your mat in front of you. If you look down, you'll fall down. So again, if you're ready to remove those blocks from your forehead, you can take flight in your full crow. Plant the hands, drop the hips, get those knees as close to the elbows as you can. Keep squeezing them in together. Lift through the bandhas, the Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana Bandha. And when you feel ready, send your gaze to the top of your mat and then take flight. That wasn't a very good version, to be fair. I'm going to do it again. When you're ready, lift, push yourself high, lift up through the core and hold. And when you're ready, release, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, release. Well, that's a bit of fun. Give it a go, keep watching the video and play around. So when we get back to normal classes, we want to see how many of you can take flight in crow. Thank you. Namaste.